Is that, you gotta turn Wi-Fi, or you gotta turn airport mode off.
For what?
Your phone's gotta be on airport mode.
That's not my phone though, that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Oh, you mean for our shooting?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you don't get interference.
Oh, of course, okay. Yeah, just like when the planes need to land, you gotta turn your cell phone off, right?
Exactly.
We're being video recorded, just so you know, so just be careful what you say.
Okay. Who's got the...
It's kind of intimidating there just looking at us.
No, I do that sometimes. I haven't done mine. Is anything off limits?
I don't think so, man, you know what I mean? I mean, we can just talk about whatever, and I'll just be honest.
You can dodge whatever you want.
Well, yeah, I know how to dodge, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I know the political answers, you know, the political way of maneuvering around something. But for the most part, I pride myself on being honest anyway, so if you know what I mean?
Open engine.
I'm putting it on airplane mode. Oh, wait, there it is.
So
what do I need to do?
So you hold it basically right here. Alright, but you can't, yeah, you gotta...
Keep it like right there?
Hold on. You just gotta make sure this guy's on.
Do I need to press anything?
No, you just hold it down here.
Okay, so right here?
Yeah.
Good?
And then you don't wanna be like this, but you wanna be...
You want to project?
A good amount of projection, yeah.
Okay, don't want to project.
Yeah.
This is a little good device right here.
Yeah.
This is the art of wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you know.
Yeah, we're about to start this thing.
Yeah, it's finally gonna happen. This is my favorite podcast right here, so I'm like honored to do it with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, l'chaim. Hey guys, how you doing? Back on the podcast here in Los Angeles with a very special guest, the Masterpiece.
Yeah, welcome to LA.
Thank you. Are you welcoming me? I've been here a million times before.
I know, but I'm born and from here, and I just want to welcome you, being a native that I am, and I'm happy to have you here. Look, we finally got to connect.
It's finally being done.
Yes.
You self-admitted podcast listener.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes. I must admit, this is an honor to me. I've listened to this show on many occasions on the road with friends of mine like Evan Bourne and Drew McIntyre, Tyler Rex, who, we don't need to get into him, I'm sorry.
No.
That's a sensitive topic right now.
To me.
Yes, very sensitive to you, but we can get to that later. But yeah, we passed a lot of hours listening to you, and I always hope for the opportunity to do this, so hopefully I can entertain some of my friends on the road now. So to all my boys out there, I'm still here, I'm still alive.
He's doing it.
Still doing it, baby.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
We don't need the machine to still be wrestlers.
Hell no,
Is
hell
that
no.
what it is?
I worked 2 matches in 8 hours today, and I'm exhausted. And that just shows like what a bunch of prima donnas. I mean, that's a good gig.
Yeah, well, like we said, like I think Gallo said it best. Is like we were exhausted, but it was just a normal work day. And there's that's because we don't have regular, like we're all assholes with not regular jobs. That it's to work fucking 8 hours is brutal for us.
Yeah, I feel like a jerk, but I think we also, being that we're like all the mentalities of guys who are workers, we need constant stimulation. So when you put us in a place for 10 hours and we're only working 15 minutes of that time, it's recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Guys are getting bored, guys are going off fulfilling their vices and whatnot.
Especially in LA, there's just...
Oh yeah, we're right next to Sunset Boulevard, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're right there. I mean, this is like a good little location, good little gig here.
There's a good amount of people here. So I want to get right off the bat, Chris, and because I'll talk about this, and we'll get into some good stuff right here, right off the bat with you.
Right off the bat. Hardball.
Yeah, I talk about on here people that I've met, and the first time we met was through Davari, and I don't know how much you remember about this, but we met through Davari, and a great friend of mine.
Yeah,
and,
great guy.
And I'll say this,
Coco.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll say this. Right now, you are a fun-loving, happy dude. Look how happy you are. You're telling me you love listening to the art of wrestling. This is the first time we've ever really been together. But I'll be honest with you, first time I ever met you, you're a piece of shit.
Woo, I love that honesty.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And like...
What year was that? Tell me what year it was.
I was doing enhancement work. And
what did I do? But what did I do specifically? Because I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in 05 and 06.
It was about that time, and you were just cold.
Really?
Very cold.
I didn't embrace you?
Not at all.
Really? Did I shake your hand?
I mean, it's just like you could be bothered.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You know what? I gotta apologize. I think I went through a rough patch around there, and I've heard that from quite a few people, but it's actually not who I am. I think I was going through a lot of personal demons, addictions, and different insecurities that you'll go through with WWE, where you know, I wasn't necessarily a content person with myself. But, you know, it's funny you say that because I kind of figured for whatever reason that you didn't like me. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to salvage this because he seems like a good guy.
Yeah, and your friendly attitude to me, you know, like in the recent year, last year, 2 years, whatever.
Oh yeah, when I saw you at that, when you came up for that tryout, I was just like, everybody was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be there, Cabana's gonna be there Monday. I was like, I can't wait to see him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to embrace you. I was like, you've entertained me, and for whatever reason, if you hate me for the asshole I was before, I apologize. But I'm a reformed asshole. You know?
And I hear from my friends what a great guy you are, how amazing you are, and I just keep thinking back, like, man, he was just so cold.
Yeah.
But I mean, the word I'm getting is that you were a different person back then.
Well, you know, I don't know what it was. You know, I battled addiction, which is obviously like a hot topic right now, especially we just heard the Travis Tomko news today, which is really crazy. But, you know, I just know that a lot of through that time, I don't know if it was me battling my own insecurities. You know, I got called up to the road like at 20 years old and given that push, and it was like a very overwhelming experience. And I started making a lot of mistakes, you know, as far as my wellness violations, and my personality changed. It did. I wasn't as happy of a person, and I'm sure I probably did embrace you, but it wasn't out of disrespect necessarily. I think, you know, I was battling my own shit type of thing, but then again, it did rub a lot. Like my first couple years in the business, I did nothing but rub people the wrong way. But the true person is who I am now, and who a lot of people have come to know within the last few years. And I'd even say, being out of WWE now, most of the guys in the locker room would say, you know, that they miss my presence, at least a little bit.
Yeah,
at least a little bit. You know,
I've heard, and a lot of people were upset that obviously you were released. You've been doing so well as of late. Like I went and watched Punk in some shows and some house shows, and I saw you doing some stuff with Swagger.
Yeah.
And even Punk comes up to me and just would tell me like how well you were doing, and just like how much you've grown as a wrestler. And as a person. So, I mean, I guess, I don't want to make this the release.
Well, no, but what a perfect show, though, because this is the art of wrestling. You know what I came to realize over the last year? And CM Punk was one of the people, he was real supportive. I remember I worked a match with Drew McIntyre where he worked leg heat on me the whole match, and I made it such a point, man, to really emotionally invest myself in all my matches. And you know, it just became, the whole business became real different to me in the last year and a half. I started to understand it from a mental standpoint better. You know what I mean? I started to understand the art of wrestling and how that's broken up and what the components are, and the art of somebody believing in yourself. You know what I mean? Not you just selling, you know, like your back, but you honestly conveying that to the audience and then believing it enough to want to support you and then come back. And then, you know, organically, then making your comeback organic and like feeling that emotion when you're coming back, like taking all that shit that you took in the heat and making it real to yourself, because everybody knows this is a work, what we do, but you know, that's the goal. We want to take their people out of that for that moment, believe it, enjoy the show, you know, want the baby face to come back from the ass whooping, and you know, I mean, that's what drove me. You know, it was just the art of the storytelling aspect.
So okay, so you obviously made a huge transition, but in order to make that transition, there was original master. So let's get into it. You had told me today we were talking about it, how you were, I mean, you got in really early, and people think that you were just a body dude who probably showed up from Rick Bassman. Saw, here's what I'm thinking. Bassman sees you at a Gold's Gym, and he's doing the Mr. Burns fingers, you know, like he's like, oh, look at that guy, he's gonna be a Vince will love this one, right? I mean, that's my impression of you. But you seeked it out at a very young age, yeah?
Okay, well, yeah, here's the whole story, and I'll try to break it down the best I can so we don't harp on it forever. But I started at 16, and it was only for the reason of I loved wrestling for my whole life as a kid, you know, and it just came down to the point where once 16 rolled around and it's like, you know, they start, you know, implanting in your head, like, what are you going to do with your life? It was like, well, what is it I love? What's my passion? And it just, everything led to pro wrestling, because I was the guy in second period with the wrestling magazine and whatnot.
So you're saying at school, because I remember the what do they call the guidance counselors are like, oh, what do you want to do? And it's wrestling. Is that what you're saying? Is they're starting to say, hey, you got to go to college? What do you want to go to college for? Or
well, I don't even know if it was the guidance counselor, because I can't remember having this conversation. I think they had given up on me because once I decided I wanted to do this, I kind of gave up on my academics. Because believe it or not, I was actually a great student. You know what I mean? When I applied myself, but then when I went on this mission where I'm like, I'm going to pro wrestle, I got a part-time job so I could go to wrestling school, and I actually started at 16 at UPW the same day as John Cena, ironic enough.
The same day.
Same day, and
What was the part-time job?
I was working, it was a place called Planet Smoothies for, it was like an independent business, you know, and
Jamba Juice of some sort.
exactly, and I actually, that job evolved into me going to Jamba Juice and then becoming a shift leader at Jamba Juice, making the big bucks, baby.
Did they recruit you? Did they like?
Oh yeah, they recruited me. I was like a hot free agent off of that. You know, my Planet Smoothie thing, it gave me hot street cred. So Jamba Juice wanted me, Smoothie King, I mean everybody. I was in high demand, but Jamba Juice got me. And, you know, I decided I started wrestling school at 16.
You, John Cena, and who else? There's got to be a lame.
Well, there was like Basil, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's a guy who they signed with John Cena who actually died of an overdose. Yeah, he had a great look. I mean, this is one thing from what I noticed. When I got to UPW at 16, I was like a skinny kid, you know, I wasn't ready to be there. Obviously, I was just stupid for even wanting to go down that young. But,
were you the youngest one there?
Yeah.
By how far?
Well, I don't even think you were legally able to sign guys till you're, you know, train for professional wrestling till you're 18. A lot of people thought that was shady that he was even letting me train.
But you got that Planet Smoothie money. Bassman's ready to.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So what happened was, I'm trying to think of who else was down there. Like Andrew Bernardsky was down there, who, if you don't know who he is, he was on the program. He played the guy who had the roid rage on the program, the football movie, if you've ever seen that.
Is that,
he also played Leatherface on the Saw movies.
Yes. And he came to Wrestling Society X, actually.
Yes, so
he trained to wrestle.
Yes, he did. And this guy, great guy, but the most reckless guy I've ever seen in a wrestling ring ever, and he's huge. So it was just like, it was just before I got released, reminding John Cena of the story of where Bernardsky actually, we were doing a practice match, and he came off the second rope for a leg drop on Cena and literally landed with his ass full-fledged on Cena's face, but basically almost killed the future of the business right there in that one move. You know, it was just like gruesome to watch. But like what happened with me was actually with Andrew Bernardsky is we were just running a simple basic spot, and it was like a universal spot, and I tried to leapfrog him, and either he didn't get down low enough, or maybe I didn't get up high enough, to be quite frankly, but I ended up fracturing my ankle, and I took like a couple years off, and you know, just kind of.
Were you a football fan?
No, I'm never really a football guy. I like basketball. I went through a baseball phase.
Because the program was it for me. It's like,
oh, what a great movie though.
So I'm saying, like, are you sitting in training being like, holy shit, I mean, for me it was a bunch of bums in Chicago. For you, like, you got all these, a movie star, Joe Millionaire's hanging out there, right? Like,
oh my God, yeah, we had all kinds of people popping in there. It was ridiculous. We even had Antonio Inoki come down, like one of my first practices, and I was like in a suit, you know, he had a bunch of guys with suits in them. I was just like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy cast of characters, man. I mean, I don't know how many guys actually made it out of that except for myself, Cena, you know, at that point. And I didn't even make it out at that point. Like I said, I got injured.
Right, you fractured your ankle.
Yes.
And so you take off a shitload of time. I mean, at 16, you're like, I'm training, this is it. Planet Smoothie money, down payment, right?
Yeah, I just figured I would settle for a shift management position at Jamba Juice. You know, I was doing so well there. Such a hot commodity on the smoothie circuit.
But I mean, so your ankle's done with. Are you like, is that rehab? Are you sitting there going, I want to wrestle?
No, this is what happened. I never ever doubted I wanted to wrestle. I just realized I was too young, and then when I got injured, I actually had to have surgery and have it scoped. So I had that done because like I wrestled on it for 2 months, still practicing, just thinking, oh, it's fucked up, it'll get better, you know, just being dumb, young, dumb, and you know that's how we still are anyway. We'll just fucking work through injuries. We can curse on here, right?
Fucking hell,
fucking shit, fuck, damn, motherfucker. Anyways. So yeah, you know, I always had the intention to go back. It's just I think I really got a taste for what they were looking for, and from my perspective, I mean, John Cena was huge. The other guy, Basil, huge guy. So actually, after I had my surgery, I just focused on my training, and I really took up bodybuilding as a hobby to get to pro wrestling. But you know, it kind of followed me, the stigma then, because I come back at 19 and I was in great shape. You know, I worked my ass off and I did what I had to do to get to that point. And then,
would you say that was like 17 to 19?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I came back at 19 and I was signed by 20. So I came back to UPW at 19 and Rick gave me a scholarship at that point. And you know, I guess he saw potential.
Right. A real athlete.
Yeah. So, or just like you were saying earlier, you know, like he was salivating at the gym or whatever. And, you know, so I mean, it all fell together at that point. You know?
All right, well, let's hear you get a scholarship. I mean, do you show up, or I'm sorry, you're getting signed. You're obviously you're huge now.
Yeah.
You're into it. The whole bodybuilding culture. You're getting into it, man. Fucking protein shakes up the wazoo, right?
Yeah.
Just an animal.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, does he make a call, or does Bruce Pritchard come marching down?
Well, no, they came down and looked at us actually, I believe, and then we came down to some of the TV tapings as a group with Rick Bassman. And, you know, it wasn't right away. I went back to UPW for about a year, but I knew, you know, I kind of knew even going back there that, like, you know, you're only going to learn so much at UPW. So I kind of went with a lazy mentality, like, you know, let me learn the fundamentals and basics here, and then, you know, hopefully, you know, I have the potential, you know, where they'll pick me up, and then, you know, you go to LVW and really learn, you know, the real craft, the real shit.
Well, who was teaching you the basics?
Well, we had Tom Howard and Mad Dog Mike Bell, rest in peace, good buddy of mine, and they were all actually they were great trainers. It's not to dog them at all. It's just, you know, it was great just to have a different variety of trainers like I did, but I still looked at UPW as a place to learn kind of how to bump and how to protect yourself, but not as much of a place for psychology and, you know, kind of really learning the art of wrestling, if you will.
Right, but so you knew that, I mean, these were just in time. You were going, in your mind, you were going down to Louisville or Memphis or whatever it was.
Well, I was hoping. I never knew for sure, and so when I actually got the call, I mean, I was.
So who called you?
You know, I think Rick had called me. Rick had Bassman had called me.
You don't remember the fucking day you got signed?
Man, you know, I have the worst memory. No, but I remember it was pretty clear through an email that was sent to me that was like asking me for specific details on specific things that you wouldn't think they would ask for. And then I do remember talking to Johnny and him.
What do you want your theme music to be? Who is that?
Oh, well,
what kind of robe would you like to wear? Are those the questions being asked?
No, that was all this. When I was in OVW, that was the stuff I pondered to myself every day. I was like, well, what's it going to be like when I get called up? Like, what's my music going to be? Because as a kid, you know what I mean? If, you know, again, I'm like a lifelong fan, you know what I mean? So, like, to me, it was always like, well, now for me, yeah, every little thing, like, what is it? What's my music going to be? What's this? What's that? You know, and you know, it was a real exciting time, that whole time of like going through OVW. OVW was like my college, you know. I didn't finish high school. I dropped out for the dream of pro wrestling.
You didn't finish high school?
No, I didn't.
Let's get into this a little bit, Chris.
Oh, yeah, shame.
Wow. Do you have a GD or anything?
No, but that's something actually I think I should look into right now.
So you start training.
Yes.
And you're just like, I'm out.
Well, the thing is I started working a job. I didn't just leave school. I was working, I was going to school from 8 to 3, and then I would go work from like 4 to 9 p.m. And then like this was after I had already been injured and taken the break away from wrestling. But like I started working out every night from 10 to 12 midnight. So it's like you can see that my days were just, there was no time for anything. I had no time for homework.
Parents? Are you from
I have a mom in the picture, but I mean, she was always, I don't fault her because she was always supportive of my dream. Like, she even drove me to wrestling practice when I was 16. So she didn't condone me not going to school and doing what I did, but I mean, she was trying to break me into entertainment since I was a kid. I did acting and modeling when I was like...
Oh, what did you do? Are you a child actor?
Yeah, I did a few things as a kid. Like, between the ages of 5 and like 11, I did acting and modeling.
I loved it. What are the high profile?
I did some Bugle Boy ads, crisscross ads. I did, if you ever, you know, not everybody remembers, but there was a show called Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton way back in the day that I did a couple cameos in, and like some other weird shit, like an Eliminator gun commercial with this big jacked up dude, like I was a little kid with this jacked guy.
You were jacked then too. Like.
No, I wasn't actually. I was like I was looking at that
Did
guy.
Did you see that guy?
Yeah, that was my future, I guess.
Yeah. Do you remember being a kid, like looking at this jacked up guy and being like, "Fuck, he's the man"?
Well, you know, I remember just when I got, you know, growing up on guys like Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude and all these guys that like I would sometimes like, and no, let me clarify, no homo, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying. But I would end up in class like trying to like draw these physiques of like the Ultimate Warrior and all that, just because they were so crazy looking. Like you see this and you're like, oh my god, these guys are like comic books. It's insane.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would always draw like the extra lats, like the extra V, and then there's an extra V, and then an extra V.
Exactly, man. And then you get the traps. The traps got to be perfect, and then the
I wonder what our teachers thought of us.
Oh, we were weird, bro. I was like, cause like, and I fell under that class, and you probably did too, where we were, you know, pre-wrestling boom fans. Like there was a couple years before wrestling, in 2008, wrestling get popular, and everybody loves it. Or yeah, 98. Okay, yeah, 98 wrestling is popular, but the 2 years before that, if you liked wrestling, you were a fucking nerd. You were like, you know, a Star Wars level nerd. And like, and then I hate it because then 1998 rolls around and everybody's on the back. Everybody loves it, Austin 316, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, I was the motherfucker nailing my turn with the backpack ornaments in the locker last year. You know what I mean? So,
and risking your nerdiness by wearing a fucking King Mabel shirt.
Oh my god!
You know, like,
no, I think I actually wore one of the Shawn Michaels shirts where he's wearing, you know, like his chaps and his world title belt. Like I think I had to wear that to shirt, and I actually did even have the zebra hat. I'm really letting way too much out tonight. But you know what? I loved it though, man. It's like I cherish those memories because it's like, as you know, I mean, after you enter the business, it's hard to look at it like that again. So you have to look, for me, I have to look at that sometimes to appreciate still being in it.
But even saying it now, like, it must have been crazy for you because, like, it takes a long time in wrestling to now joke about this stuff and be comfortable about it, laughing about wearing a Shawn Michaels shirt. You know what I'm saying? With those first years, you're on tippy toes. You don't want like the wrestlers to think that you're like a mark or that you did that stuff, or even you did backyard wrestling. I remember how protective I was of like anyone was like, you did backyard, like no, you know, no, I laugh about it all the time, and so, but there's those first years of like your young years with those guys and probably those California guys and Tom Howard's like brother, right? I mean,
oh yeah, I had to, in the first initial years, you gotta hide your markness, of course, but I mean, it's just, you know, now, I mean, you know, I just embrace it.
Yeah, of course,
because it's like,
we're comfortable and we're whatever. This is who we are.
Well, but also, I think it goes back to like you're saying the bodybuilder perception too. It's like one of the biggest things I've always hated is the like, oh, you know, he is just the guy who came in as a bodybuilder, just like a Luger warrior, didn't give a fuck about the business, didn't care. I always hated that was a perception that was made about me. But I can understand why. I mean, I came in with the push I did, and I was a huge guy, and I didn't have the in-ring experience nor the maturity really to handle the opportunities that they were giving to me at the time. Like, you know, and if I wouldn't have had derailed myself personally with my own demons, I would have probably been able to rise to the challenge, I'm sure. But the fact of the matter is I wasn't ready at the time for it, you know.
Well, who makes so you're at OVW, you're training, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody comes down and is like, or are they just fucking salivating over your body the whole fucking time?
Well, you know, I was already had the perception of kind of like, you know, I was starting to feel like, you know, I was definitely a guy who was a body guy, you know, of being typecasted in that body guy role. So, I mean, like the whole process kind of, I went down there as Chris Mordetsky. I walked in one day, Tom Pritchard tells me, you're Chris Masters now. So, of course, I'm okay.
I thought Cage gave you that name.
No. This is how, you got the story mixed up. What happens is, Pritchard tells me my name has changed to Chris Masters, and then maybe a few months later, I'm sitting around like with, I think, like Mickie James, Matt Morgan, and, you know, maybe Johnny Jeter and a few others. And I don't know what we were talking about, but Matt Morgan brings up the Masterpiece in reference to like a gimmick name for me, and it just like it clicked. It was like the Masterpiece, Chris Masters. So it's funny, I just saw Matt Morgan this past weekend, and I told him how many times I've had to tell this story, and he still thinks I never give him credit for it, but this is me going on the record saying Matt Morgan, the Blueprint, came up with the Masterpiece. So there you go, buddy. But
they came up with Master Lock.
Well, that happened eventually after I got called up. Once I got caught up, the whole thing was built around like, okay, well, we want you to have some kind of finish that we can kind of debut you with. And, you know, I think they went with the full Nelson because the idea at the time was to go old school a little bit because they pushed the bar so much. But yeah, Master Lock came along later. I mean, what happened though, after Matt Morgan pushed the Masterpiece thing, or he brought up the idea, you know, light bulb went off, we brought it to Jimmy. Jimmy pushed it like crazy, and it was just like, it was set, man. I mean,
so Cornette was your guy?
Oh, well, Cornette, I mean, he liked it, so he just pushed it, and it just like, it wasn't even a question at that point. You know, like WWE just went with it without even questioning it or anything, and, you know, I guess it might have actually really helped my career a lot, to be honest.
Just the name Masterpiece?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Who knows?
Well, so I'm saying, like, who, I mean, you come up, who's really hands-on with this big giant push of you? Is it Vince? Does he like you? Do you sit down with Vince?
Well,
Do you
yeah,
talk about life?
I did. I sat down with Vince and I told Vince you know, we had a meeting and I told him, you know, I wasn't confident that I could just come in there and be like, you know, this, you know, rock or anything like that. But I told him, like, with the right amount of time, I can be one of your top superstars, you know what I mean? I can be a top guy here, you know what I mean? But key point, in the right amount of time, you know, I mean, you see a lot of criticism about the way WWE books nowadays is they book so short term, and it's not like back in the day, you don't see guys go through this progressions of their career because it just burns and fizzles and so quick. And, you know, like, which leads me to, like, you know, within the last year where I felt like I was really kind of coming into my own as far as my work. But, yeah, Vince, I had a meeting with Vince, and then from there, it just kind of like we were trying to figure out a finish. I think Arn Anderson and might have come up with the full Nelson idea, because again, they were trying to trace back from the pushing, you know, they had pushed the envelope so far and they wanted to recondition the wrestling fans. That was the whole thing at the time when I came in. So it was like, let's go old school a little bit, and you know, I mean,
I loved it. I thought it was, and I thought it was done well, yeah.
Well, to their credit, it worked too, because I mean, even without the lack of storylines or TV time in the last years, I mean, if I even gesture for the hold, it would get a reaction. So I mean, just with that, you can tell it worked. But I mean, you know, and Sean and Hunter even helped me out with my entrance. You know, the original entrance with all the pyro and all the music. So those guys were real instrumental in my, you know, especially my first year, kind of up there. So.
Right on. It wasn't, I mean, obviously you had the violations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And were you fired after the violation, is that right?
Well,
or the third one, is that how it works?
Well, what happened was actually, now this is my first release, so we're going back. Okay, I got the call on a Monday that I was suspended for 60 days, so actually I originally wasn't fired. I had failed a wellness test, and it was actually, I was actually getting my life together is the funny part. I was trying to kick my addiction to prescription pills, but in turn, through going through withdrawal, I had taken a Valium, and that really had kind of screwed me. So I didn't have a prescription for that Valium. And then Tuesday rolled around, and then Vince was put under the hot seat with Congress, I believe, or even maybe the Bob Costas interview. So Monday, remember Monday, I'm still just suspended. Johnny tells me literally, like, it's all good, chill out, come back in 60 days, you know, just don't mess up, don't fuck up. So, you know, Tuesday rolls around, and then Wednesday comes around, and then I get a phone call again from them, and that's the one where I get the release. So, and you know, just like this last release too, it's like when I saw it, you just have this feeling, like you just
What, you see the number on the phone? Or?
Yeah, you just know, and I think I had heard that some shit had gone down on Tuesday, and you know, about like the interview and the Congress and all the heat he was under, and I just had a bad feeling, you know, when I saw that call on Wednesday, you know, much like this, you know, this last time, not to skip, you know, but, you know, it's just because it came on a Friday, and, you know, there's certain things that you can kind of piece together when you see, like, it used to be unknown that would come up on the caller ID, but now they actually, like, will specifically call you with their, you know, you'll see John Laurinaitis
Firing Center. You'll see
WWE feature endeavors.
Right. But what I want to get to that with is, before that, you didn't really know, I mean, I guess it's 16, did you do UPW shows?
Yeah, I did a couple actually. I worked actually a match with The Miz too.
Really?
The Miz and I mean, yeah.
This is before you got signed, yeah?
Yeah, it's so funny because this story just popped in my head. Yeah, we worked an 8-man tag where I actually eliminated Miz from, there was some kind of big botch in this 8-man tag. Nobody knew what we were doing. And I remember Miz called for me to chokeslam him because we needed to eliminate him. So we actually had one of our first matches together.
Both of you guys?
Our first match, yeah. The Miz and myself. So we go back a little bit, and I mean, we worked a couple other shows there. I mean, the shows that Rick Bassman held at the Galaxy Theater were awesome. They were a lot of fun. There was a lot of production. There's probably a lot of overhead too, but you know, he didn't run them often. So it wasn't like OVW where OVW, when I got there, we were doing shows constantly. I mean, there wasn't the budget and the production and all that.
But the point I'm getting to is that you were when you do, yes, you're doing the shitty independent shows for OVW. I did them too, but you're getting a paycheck every week. Now all of a sudden you're an unpaid checked wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So you're fired. Like, what's going through your mind right now? Like, how does it, like, do I go wrestle? Do I quit? Do I become a bodybuilder?
You're talking about at this current firing?
No, I'm talking about that first one. Because you went down, and I want to talk about the Ultimate Warrior, and you did a bunch. You fucking ran the gambit. You were an independent superstar.
I had so much fun actually in that year and a half. But eventually, it just came back to like, if you want to be in this business, the ultimate goal is WWE. So, but I think when I first got released, I just kind of knew that I got injured on top of it. It was like a real messed up scenario. Like a lot of people thought Undertaker, the rumor was Undertaker intentionally injured me because I was botching spots. But no, I was doing great. I was in Europe working with Rey Mysterio on one night, and then the next night I would team with Fit against Taker and Kane. We were having good matches. Like I was starting to get myself back together because, I was trying to get over the addiction and get myself back straight and get everything good. And basically I got injured, and with 2 days left in the tour, I went over the top rope. I was doing the Bret Hart squash on the bottom rope to Glenn Kane's leg. And on the third one, he booted me in the ass, but our timing was slightly off. I'd done it a couple nights prior with Taker, worked fine, but this particular night, for whatever reason, the timing was off. I went to post on the apron and my elbow just completely popped out into my tricep.
Oh.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. It was the most brutal injury I've ever felt because it was like all the muscles in my arms were tweaking out. Like I couldn't strain it.
Those are a lot of muscles
bend it. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Don't build my ego anymore, please. But so it was kind of sad though too, because then just making sure spawners off. Because then I got sent home, with 2 days left in the tour, which is already sad enough because you're like, it's like exciting to finish a tour. Everybody gets happy at the end of a 2-week tour, especially if nobody's hurt and it's gone well. We have our shot. We're like, we did it. It's all good. So kind of sucked to leave there injured. And then I had no idea on top of it that I'd be getting fired a week later. So, I had to even sit out for 3 months and do nothing and just sit about my firing because I was injured. So it was like doubly miserable, and I kind of fell into.
But did you fall into kind of another shitty patch in your life?
Yeah, well, I did. I definitely didn't get my life back in straight at that point. But I did work like crazy. I started going to Europe a lot. I did, like you were saying, the NWE, American Rampage. I really experienced the indie wrestling world, which I had never gotten to do. And I didn't get
You met the guys like us, the fucking the Genericos, the Pox, the strugglers out, the M-Dogs.
You know what, man? But it's been some of the coolest, most genuine people, because these are the people you sit around with and I'd be bullshitting with in the most random places in the world, whether it was Barcelona, Spain, or Australia, and they were just then they would always put things into perspective for me, because they would always ask me about WWE, and I would just see what mutual dream this is amongst anybody who wants to get into it. And I think that eventually put it into perspective for me, because I always knew that I took accountability for the fact that I had gotten released the first time. I had messed up, and I kind of felt once the time's right, hopefully I'll get my life right, and then that'll be an option again. And as the more time went on, and I spent time around these people, and I did the indies. I had the most fun of my life. Especially going to Europe. Because it's wrestling without the stress, without the politics, without the bullshit. It's just going there, working, good accommodations, and
showing up in a t-shirt.
Yeah. And you know what? I met some of the greatest characters ever from my childhood throughout all that time, because you don't see these guys, around the WWE circuit, so I got to meet my honky tonk man, my Ultimate Warriors, like you were saying. And
so is the Warrior cool? What's
the Warrior, the Warrior, if you are a Warrior fan, around my genre as a kid, he let you down quite a few times, you know what I mean? Because he'd come and go.
Right.
He came and left. And he kind of let me down in my adult life too, but I hate to be so hard on him, because I know everybody just kind of dogs the Warrior now, but he was awesome as a kid, fucking awesome, man. The face paint, the character, I don't care if his work was the shits, the Ultimate Warrior was cool, but he was exactly what everybody kind of explained that he was in the business. He was the personification of that. He came down on an April When we were doing a couple shows in Spain, he gave his speech about how he wanted to help out the young talent. And
in the locker room?
Yeah, he gave this big speech about how he wanted to help out everybody. He was here for them and all the young kids and stuff. There were a lot of, you know, I mean, you can imagine how there was a lot of young guys who haven't been to WWE or anything in this locker room, like looking at the Warrior, like, whoa. And you could tell that he really wanted to change the perception, because I think he's aware, you know, he's aware of how people feel about him. So, you know, he gives us all that, and it kind of works us, man. We're kind of like, all right, well, you know, maybe he's had a change.
This Warrior ain't half bad.
Yeah.
I might join his One Warrior Nation.
Yeah, maybe I can jump back on board one more time.
Right.
You know, this is the third time, but, you know, this is it after this, if he fucks up again. But, you know, so, I mean, what happened, I don't have anything personally that he did to me, but it was really just kind of a letdown, because we went to Spain, we're working a 2-week tour, all of us, except for him. He's in a mansion, all he has to do is work out, bodybuild for his wrestling match. And, you know, all I'm hearing from the promoters while we're busting around all over fucking Europe and busting our asses about how he's complaining about this, how he can't get into the mailbox to get his shit, so then he breaks down the mailbox, and then, you know, it comes down to, and then he doesn't train.
Can you picture him like shaking the mailbox?
Oh,
like that?
you know what? He is like, he's crazy. I mean, he really is. I mean, there's a
grabbing that top rope.
He broke the mailbox. I mean, what do you expect? It had to look Warrior-esque in some form. I mean, it could have looked like a gentle break by any means. I mean, who knows? Maybe he ran back and forth and shoulder tapped that bitch. But so then, you know, kind of just what happens, you know, so we already kind of have a sour taste in our mouth, because from our perspective, we're working our asses off, man. We're working like tours, we're doing shows every day, and we're really wanting to make this NWE thing work. We're looking at it like, man, maybe we can make something. These houses are huge. We're having so much fun. And he's our big payoff match. And, you know, the thing I think it is I think he didn't train for it like it was a wrestling match. He'd been out of the ring for 10 years, and all he focused on was the bodybuilding, like it was a bodybuilding show. So
says Chris Masters. This is hilarious, by the way.
It's coming from me. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and that's why I'm on the show, so people understand who the real me is. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I love the gym and all, but, you know, I'm all about this business is what, you know, where all that originated. But, yeah, so he didn't spend any time in the ring. I mean, he even came down here to California to do some training with RVD, and RVD said they maybe did locked up a couple times, and that was it. So
he's like just out of the corner of his eye, he keeps on seeing that bench press in the corner. Like,
he's just so tempted by the damn bench press. He's just like, screw this.
Wow, look at those declines over there. Oh.
So, okay. So then what happens is basically we get to so we're doing this 2-week tour, but our big payoff is Barcelona. It's our big show, 17,000 people. Orlando Jordan is slated to work the Ultimate Warrior. And basically, man, what happens is, I mean, he shows up to the building, he has his own locker room, which for me was still, I'd heard that it happened, you know, from back in the days with Hogan and all that, but I'd still never seen it in my experience in the business. Even in WWE, Hunter didn't have his own locker room, Shawn didn't have his own locker room, everybody changed, you know, mutual rooms, so it was weird to see that, but, you know, whatever, that's what he's used to. But, I mean, he didn't say hi to anybody, and then, you know, he went out there, and him and Orlando Jordan worked this 22-minute match that was literally 18 minutes too long. And it was just, it was unbelievable, because we were sitting around, we were crowded around this monitor backstage with Rikishi.
Complete sellout, I'm sure.
Oh, God.
At the monitor.
The Juice was there, Rikishi, Gangrel maybe, myself, and we're trying to figure out what they're saying, because they're chanting in Spanish, so we're all looking at Juvi, and Juvi don't want to say shit, you know. Juvi is just,
you know, like, something you don't know?
Oh yeah, you know how they are. They don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you know, finally we get it out of them, and they're chanting circus, this is bullshit, because basically from what Orlando had told us, within a minute and a half, the Warrior had told him he was blown and done. Literally those words. So, you know, I give Orlando a lot of credit for having to try to carry that match. And, you know, looking back, I mean, fuck, it doesn't take a genius to think that, hey, maybe this guy hasn't been in the ring in 10 years. Maybe we should take it straight to heat and then go right to the comeback.
Well, listen, shake some ropes, maybe
a
little dive, a couple high fives, call it a day.
This was a huge thing for me. First of all, just see, like, when I first saw the Warrior 2, I mean, he looked physically huge and everything. I was like, wow, the guy looks big. He looks, you know, he looks like a bodybuilder. But, you know, I could just tell by his walk that age had gotten to him a little bit. And then like, so for me, the big thing was like, all I wanted to see was the run. I was like, if he can make it through the run and somewhat still not like hobble out there and look like the Warrior, then there's a chance for this. But I tell you, man, as soon as I saw him run out, I was like, this is not going to be good. It was not the same, man. I mean, you know, he had the short hair too, granted, and all that, but I mean, you know, he kind of hobbled out there, and it's just like, it's not the same, man. You got to see your Warrior fucking running out there crazy. Sure. I mean, he's got to blow himself up on the entrance, and then it's okay for his lack of actual work ethic in the ring, you know? As long as he blows it up, like, I always laugh when I watch that Rick Rude match, that cage match, where he runs around the cage 4 times and then runs up, jumps on and shakes it. I mean, beautiful shit, but yeah, and so basically they stunk up the joint, and then Warrior didn't say bye to anybody. He left, and for me, that was probably the fine. I was like, to me, personally, I'm like, this guy has now let me down twice in my child life, and now this is going to be the final time in my adult life. I'm done with it. Yeah, it was
like forever.
It was literally like that. It was like there was this little music video playing, because I saw him leaving the building with his luggage bag and his wife and his kid, and it was like literally watching him walk away in slow-mo, and it seemed the end, and I was like, because I also knew after watching the match, I'm like, this guy's career, you know, I know he still wants to get this one match payoff, you know, he still is like doing the stuff with Hogan, but it's over. It's over. If you would have seen that match, you would have known like this is the end for the Warrior. Like, you know, and we'll all still have our love for the Warrior as he was in the 80s and 90s, but you know, for him to try to do any shit nowadays is an insult to all of us.
Fair enough. Yes. I mean, so you do your tours, you go around NWE, the other stuff. You get back. I do want to jump into a little birdie told me a story about when you quit a match in the middle of a match.
Why? No way. What is this?
With Gallows.
What? What are you talking about?
Something about your balls were showing or something?
No, that wasn't me. That was Rene Dupree. Oh, thank God.
No?
It wasn't my balls showing. Was this at OVW?
I know. I think this was you and Gallows, and this was
okay.
a Kurt Hawkins.
Okay.
Something you said, I gotta go. My balls are showing, or something, in the middle of a suplex or something.
No. Oh, wait a minute.
Does this ring a bell?
Could that have been me? Well, I mean, I can think of maybe a couple instances where I've been picked up in a suplex and there might have been some sackage. But I don't think if there was any particular reason. No, I know I've never quit a match over sackage.
Right.
I mean, it's going to take a lot more than an exposed sackage.
We'll get a tweet from Hawkins on this one.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to.
Maybe I read the text.
That son of a bitch spreading rumors.
Not spreading, bringing up topics. Topics.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that.
But the last,
But there is, you remind me of a Rene Dupree story where I heard that his sack
That's why he got fired, right?
Yeah, like he was in OVW and his sack was hanging out for like a whole match or something.
Yeah.
So that's immediately what popped in my head. Like, I think I know if my sack was hanging out, you know?
I think that was the last straw for him. They were just like, all right.
Yeah, this guy's a mess.
A mess.
Yeah, Rene Dupree, a guy I tried to love so many times. He's like my age.
He was another one, by the way.
Yeah.
But you've redeemed yourself. You totally redeemed yourself. Rene Dupree, not so much.
No, Rene Dupree is a genuine asshole, though. That's why. It's like, you know, it's like with some guys, you can try to like them once, and then it might not work, and then you can try again, and then, you know, it might not work, and then it's up to you whether you're going to give him another shot or not. Well, Rene, I've given that motherfucker too many chances. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's always doing something to fuck it up. It's like, I want to bond with him. I'm like, we're the same age. You know, I know you like bodybuilding and you love wrestling and all this shit too, but, you know, he's just kind of a slimy, dude.
I know. And was DeVar? No, Paul London was the one who introduced us. Yeah. But the last year, I mean, so you clean up and you go back and you get signed. Obviously, with the wellness policy, you have to stay clean.
Yeah.
Was this an enjoyable run for you?
Why? Because I couldn't get fucked up?
No, I mean, because you seem happy now. That wasn't a dig at all. I mean, honestly, because I would think you're not fucked up. Like, life's good, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm in a different place. Definitely, very much this time around. Like, I felt. It's weird, man, because I came back to WWE and I was so happy to be back because I was like, you know, I went through the indies and then I realized like, hey, I really derailed myself and, you know, and messed up. Let me go make things right. And, you know, for most of 2009 even, I was just happy to be back. But then, like, when 2010 rolled around, there was a fire really lit under my ass and I was like, you know what? there's no reason for me to, I wanted to reach for the brass ring. I felt like I had all the
being
tools.
happy is enough. Now it's time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and I wanted to do anything I possibly could. And I realized I didn't have the company's endorsement, or, they had no incentive to do anything for me. So, I mean, I just did I took whatever they gave me. And, a lot of times it was one seg, 10 minutes on Superstars, two segs, 15 minutes on Superstars, and they gave me the ring time.
Silent Library, you did that.
Silent Library at Big Time Rush, I'm making my presence felt wherever I can, I'm on the street corners too. No, I'm just kidding.
What was the weirdest thing you did promotional-wise?
As far as
Silent Library, the weirdest thing?
Yeah, it was, man. I still don't know if that was a good idea for my career. I feel like I'm still having to rebuild my image from that whole thing. Yeah, it was kind of, and I know you're saying that you probably specifically watched that because Kurt Hopkins was on there
of course.
too, and,
I would never watch that show besides
I would never watch it either too. I was like, there's no way I'd watch this. And you know what, to be honest, I have never watched the full episode we did just because I'm so kind of like, I think I'm still kind of embarrassed by it, although I don't take myself too seriously, but I just kind of don't want to watch it.
Sure, I understand. Well, I mean, here you are, I guess, on another, riding the Indies, rocking and rolling, living here in Los Angeles. What's the word with you, man? What do you doing stuff outside of wrestling? You enjoying life? You let me borrow Kangol hats? That's nice.
Oh yeah, let's not get into that hat thing again.
Sorry.
Yeah, you had to borrow my hat all day for our Wrestling Revolution project shoot. For whatever reason, you had to have my hat, but it is a good hat.
It's a great hat.
Yeah, and it fit good on your head too, so I don't mind it,
But outside wrestling, anything fun with you?
You know what? Okay, so the difference here this time, the two releases were very different, man. The first release, I messed up. I understood that and I accepted it. This time, obviously, I'm a little more upset this time just because I felt like I really did, like your friend CM Punk said, and my friend, he's a good dude. I worked my ass off over the last year, and I really devoted myself 100% to the business. I didn't have a girlfriend, not a wife, nothing to distract me, and I felt like I was making great progress every week. So it is a heartbreak to go from knowing that you worked that hard and then having conversations where Vince and Hunter have been in your ass telling you, hey, you've gone really good, we want to push you, yada yada yada, to being released. So it came as a surprise, but I mean, for me, I'm also, if they weren't going to use me, or they didn't, if they didn't know what to do with me, it might be the best for all parties involved right now, because I'm 28 years old, it still gives me a chance to, I still want to do this. But this is, I have more passion for sports, entertainment, and pro wrestling than anything. I mean, it's what I base my whole life around. So, I mean, that's kind of the dilemma I'm in. It's like, you look at a guy who breaks into wrestling at 19 is now on the unemployment line with, 11% of the population out here in the country. Now I joined that few. And my only qualifications are a Samoan drop, a vertical suplex, and a full Nelson. And that's been known to be
a hell of a fucking preacher curl, too.
A hell of a preacher curl. So, I mean, I got a few things going for me. But it's like, I live in LA, so I'm not leaving the acting thing out of, you know what I mean? I think there's specific roles. I'm not looking to be necessarily a lead man.
I'm just saying shit you like to do in life, man. I'm not saying this like, you riding your bike around, you fucking going grocery shopping?
Oh yeah, I love to ride my tricycle.
Yeah, I don't know that too.
I've been actually, obviously I've been working out. I'm maintaining, I'm getting my GTL and,
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, I know.
We might have to.
People hate me, but I never watched Jersey Shore till like 2 weeks ago. But
You're just starting.
I never watched an episode. I watched it a couple weeks ago, and I totally got the guys. I was like, I get it. GTL, T-shirt time. These guys make sense to me. It's entertaining. I'm sorry, man.
The fact that you're so late on this is.
Oh, I know. I'm totally late. Totally late on this. Totally late. But I love the guys. They're freaking. Yeah, I could hang out with those guys probably. But you know what? I've been just enjoying life. I mean, I went to Portugal. That was the first booking I did that I labeled the first of my anti-E / get the E out tour.
Get the E out.
Yeah, my whole
campaign.
That's what it sounds like, right? That's what it sounds like. But you know, I just cause and then you know, I did the SummerSlam Access thing. I invaded that as part of Masterpiece Theater. So I definitely don't plan to fade out by any means. I'm just trying to figure out kind of the next couple of years. But on a daily basis, man, I live in LA, man. I'm going to the beach. I'm meeting women. I'm enjoying life. I'm having fun. I'm in a positive mindset. So all is well in terms of that. Like I'm coping with the release probably the best you possibly could, just because I feel vindicated in my hard work. I still feel shocked in the fact of the decision, but you know what? If it's meant to be, maybe I'll be back there. You never know.
But in the meantime, if guys want to, if promoters want to book you and stuff, or do you reach out to fans? Do you on any of these things? Facebook, Twitter, I don't know.
Oh yeah. WWE Master P. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter right there. I know I need to change that name, huh?
Yeah. But I like Master P.
I know
you're a no limit soldier.
Oh hell yeah,
really
man! I keep it real, you know. I'm down.
Fuck Swole, bro. Look at these fucking arms you got. Jesus
you know what I'm saying?
Christ.
I do the best I can.
I'll be Chase Tatum. I'll be in your fucking limit soldiers.
All right, so and then yeah, for bookings, and I just opened I have a new website now. It's themasterlock.com, which is going to be feeding many different videos, Masterpiece Theater, what we're filming actually right here for the Art of Wrestling. And yeah, so you can go to masterlock.com, and then also for bookings, you can reach me at masterpiece83@gmail.com.
Official.
All right. Or
man.
you can reach me at themasterlock.com, whatever you prefer. There's various places to reach.
Just reach out, say hello.
Yeah, don't poke me on Facebook. It's gay.
Yeah. You're so. You said not no homo or anything, but that, and then you just threw that out. You tried to save it on the no homo, but then you just.
Did I just ruin it?
No, you were great.
Oh, thanks, man.
Chris, I appreciate you being on, bud.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome.
All right.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Holy shit. You know I'm Jewish?
Are you?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I am.
Mordechevsky?
What
is it?
Mordetsky.
Mordetsky.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. You know that whole deal?
Yeah.
You celebrate Hanukkah?
I know I'm the worst Jew in the world. Are you legit Jew?
Well, I don't celebrate it now, and I'm not like we celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas as a kid, so I'm like one of those weird Jews for Jesus type things. But I don't wear a yarmulke, and I don't.
Yeah, I'm one of the worst Jews ever, but I'm good.
Yeah, but you know on the lingo, then you know.
Shit. I had a bar mitzvah.
Schmuck.
I had a bar mitzvah.
You had a bar mitzvah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You Jewish prick.
Yeah, I know.
What's your real last name?
Colton.
That's too bad we never got to the Tyler Rex fucking stealing your gimmick.
Fuck! He said, what did this dickhead say?
What dickhead? Who'd you?
Hawkins.
Oh, did you tell him we were doing it? I fucking love him. He's great.
When he worked Gallows on Superstars, got picked up for a suplex and bailed on it because he said, I thought my nuts were out.
It might have happened. Yeah. But I thought you said I bailed on the match. I'm like,
that's what I thought it was. Yeah, he just bailed.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Oh, I can't take the embarrassment. Jesus Christ.
I'm quitting the match.
Of all the things to embarrass me, I mean, I think we do even worse things than even if our nuts were shut.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, man, we did it.
Success.
Jeez, what a day, bro. Holy fuck. And we got 2 more days of this?
A Jew!